So I'm going to try something new with my vlog videos from here on out. I'm going to try and still do them like this, you know, where it's just like, you know, fucking doodly-doo, whatever else, you know, like no pictures, whatever else. But I'm going to try and interject pictures into some of the future ones, especially the manga review series, because I figured it'd be a lot more visually interesting than staring in my face, especially when I haven't shaven in like fucking 3 or 4 days. So anyways, Wolverine, the movie just came out. I went and saw it with my friend Andrew. And let me just do the TLDR version of the review. If you don't read the Wolverine comic books and you don't know a damn thing about the character, you're probably going to enjoy the movie. If you do know a lot about the character, or even a decent amount, and you're really anal about like movies getting the details right about the character mythos, you're probably going to not like this movie. Just saying. Now, if you can get over that, you'll probably like the movie, but, you know, I had to notice all this stuff because I'm just fucking anal like that. So, this entire review, save for one little part, is going to be about how the movie basically said fuck off to the character mythos and logic in general when it comes to the character Wolverine. The movie itself has good acting, good editing, good camera work, etc. Nothing really bad about it. Nowhere near as bad as Prometheus or Source Code or Battle LA or any of those other tragedies that I saw that just were abominations. So, not a terrible movie by any stretch of the imagination. But the first thing I want to cover that is the only part of the movie that I just shook my head at and just could not suspend disbelief on, and this is a spoiler, the whole video is a spoiler obviously, is the fucking train scene. For those of you that saw that, you probably already knew I was going to mention this. For those of you that haven't seen the movie, again, quit the fucking video right now if you don't want to get this spoiled, but here's how it goes. There's a scene where Wolverine is fighting a Yakuza member on the top of a bullet train. Now, if you don't know how fast bullet trains go, sometime go on the highway and stick your head out the window when you're going about 70, 60 miles on the highway. Just try that sometime and see how much that about rips your face off. In fact, I'll do it right now. Let's just see. Let's see what this does in my face. See the wind already coming in? And this isn't even with my head out the window. It's like if I stick my head out, it's like, it's fucking intense. It's intense at, you know, even 70 miles an hour. Now, a bullet train goes upwards of 4 times that speed. Higher than 4 times that speed. And your whole body is on the outside of the train. And you're getting blown along with the train, facing it. Straight forward. This isn't out the side of a car where the wind is getting pulled some to the side because of the aerodynamics of the car. This is straight on top of the train where the wind is blowing you right in the face because you're 4 or 5 cars back and the wind just hitting you right in the face. So, the human, the Yakuza alone should have just fucking been done. He should not be able to hold on with a fucking knife. I'm sorry, your hands would get ripped to shreds, your hands would get ripped off the knife, you'd be done, I don't care. Now Wolverine, he's a mutant, he's a badass, you know, he can fucking deal with that, you know, he's the man, whatever. But what just blew my mind, even for Wolverine, was there's a little segment of it where they're jumping off of the train to avoid signs that are clipping the top of the train. Wolverine pushes himself off of the train and flies in the air like 10 feet and then lands back on the train. And the Yakuza guy does this too. Yakuza, whatever. He does this too. And they land, and there's so many things wrong with that, I don't even know where to begin. Like, let's not even get into the wind shear factor. The minute you flew up like that, your ass would fly off to the left or the right or something like that. Let's not even get into the, like, superhuman ability of strength. Like, fucking Colossus would probably have a hard time doing that. I don't even know where to even begin. That scene was so far out there that it killed my ability to fucking believe it at all. It just was comedic to me. But outside of that one really bizarre scene, the rest of the movie was generally pretty well done. But let me get into some of the inconsistencies here. The first big one is, of course, that Wolverine is told by the man that he saved that he could have his powers transferred to another person. Now, as you know, in the X-Men and, you know, whole mythology of mutant stuff and so forth, I'm trying to find some fucking nail clippers. There's like nobody on the road right now, by the way, if you're worried about like this being dangerous. I could be like a fucking donut right now. I could like literally probably just fucking like close my eyes and drive for like 5 minutes and not hit anything. Anyways, the whole mythos is mutant powers are generally not transferable unless it's a mutant power doing it. It's not really doable as science, and in Wolverine's case, it's like, okay, you know, you can make up some bullshit about the mythos, super science, whatever, you know. But what bothered me about it was that later on in the movie, when he's in the outfit, the Silver Samurai outfit, yes, that's supposed to be the Silver Samurai, guys. That's supposed to be the fucking Silver Samurai that the old man's in. When he's in the Silver Samurai outfit, he is draining Wolverine's, like, regeneration through his claws. Now, I don't even know where to begin on how wrong this is. First of all, when he drains his powers temporarily, Wolverine gains bone claws. Now, if you don't know about Wolverine's mythos, he was covered in adamantium by tests that were trying to make him into Weapon X. Now, for much of the comics storyline mythos back in the day, people thought that the claws were added onto him, when in fact they were covering his actual bone claws, which were part of his skeleton, which led more to his mutant powers and so forth, and like his mythos and all other shit. So, when the Silver Samurai robot that this old man's in uses a drill to penetrate his claws in the bone of the claws, it somehow sucks the adamantium off of Wolverine, even though the adamantium's around the bone, not in it. And on top of that, it somehow takes his mutant power of healing, which has nothing to do with the adamantium, and is in fact suppressed by the adamantium, from him. How does that make any sense? And then it makes even less sense that the old man gets the fucking regeneration ability and regenerates to a 30-something man and then dies from a stupid spike in the head. Why didn't the regeneration do anything? Why did it suddenly go away? Because if it suddenly goes away because it wasn't fully in him, then how did Wolverine get his regeneration back when the old man died without having it put back into his bones? How did he randomly get it back if it was drained from him and it can be removed from a person with such little thing as a spike? Wouldn't it be completely removed from Wolverine, going by the movie's mythos and the way that it's handling mutant powers to the point where Wolverine couldn't get it back? And if that was the case, that Wolverine could get it back just by having, you know, a little bit of time to regenerate it, why didn't he just give it to the old man in the first place? Or why didn't the old man just take it to begin with and then Wolverine would have the whole time? What the hell was with the whole putting the heart thing, putting the thing on his heart? Why do they need the thing on his heart to be able to get the fucking power to regenerate him? Why did they need to weaken him? Why didn't they just take it from him and then they wouldn't even know? And furthermore, how the hell could that thing even affect him if he's got the regeneration powers to actually get rid of it? Like, I don't even fucking know where to even begin on half of this shit. It's just like way the fuck out there. And then, of course, let's not even get into the factor that when Wolverine had his adamantium taken away, the bone claws, the hole where his claws came out, didn't regenerate. Even though without adamantium, his regeneration is like multiplied times 5. So the hole should have instantly closed. I don't even understand. And then, of course, let's not even get into the fact that the Silver Samurai in the comic book original version this movie is adapted from, and by adapted I use that word very loosely, is adapted from. The Silver Samurai was actually, in one case, the father of the chick that was being sought after the whole film. Was the father, and then the first time, apparently, he was the half-brother of the chick that was being sought after. And at no point did the grandpa ever become the fucking Silver Samurai. And it was never some gigantic warlord battle suit, it was just a normal fucking suit. And then, of course, let's get into that Viper chick. That Viper chick, she is killed by the chick that can predict the future, which, by the way, in the books does not have the mutant power of foresight. I don't know where the fuck that came from. But she is killed by that chick. I believe her name was, I can't even fucking remember. I forgot what the fuck her name is. Anyways, the red-haired chick. She's killed by the red-haired chick. And she's killed by having a like elevator wire wrapped around her throat, and then she jumps off. The red-haired chick jumps off, and it pulls the Viper chick up, and the Viper chick gets hit with a fucking falling object. I think it's like some weight or something like that, and it kills her, right? Now, let's not even take into account that she survived like a 5-story fall with basically no damage to her whatsoever, and she, whatever, you know, fucking pan, you know, and then a weight somehow kills her when this doesn't. But if you look up her mutant powers, Viper has the power of teleportation. And yes, she was killed by being strung up by a rope and then hoisted up an elevator shaft. So they just omitted that power, I guess. And then, of course, let's get into Wolverine And the whole fucking, what was the one thing I want to talk about? Fuck, I can't remember. I don't want to like fucking wait and think about this. There's just a lot of inconsistencies in the film and stuff like that with like the mutant power stuff. At the end of the film, the little spoiler thing with Xavier and Magneto and the time stopping, where does that even come into play at? Like the time stopping? I don't even know. And then, you know, not like I'm really complaining about this, but there were like a bunch of gratuitous shots of Jean Grey basically half naked throughout the entire film. And I mean, I guess it's Wolverine, you know, he's like a manly man, so he's gonna imagine like a chick half naked, but all the same, I realize there's probably some people are gonna be like, you know, what the fuck is that even in there for? Like, just stick it in there, so. But anyways, overall, not a bad film, just very inconsistent with the whole mythos of Wolverine, and just very out there with a lot of that shit. Just very, too, I forgot to name this too. The Silver Samurai in the books, that's what I was thinking of. The Silver Samurai in the books has the ability to kinetically charge his sword to cut anything, just like the sword in the movie that the gigantic Silver Samurai suit uses, except adamantium. So when the Silver Samurai in the movie cuts off Wolverine's claws with his heated up sword, so I don't even know. They just threw it straight to the wind on that one. I can understand it's an adaptation, but I've always been of the mentality that if you're adapting something, there's a reason that people liked that thing in the first place. When you try and change it so drastically, you are going to not only ostracize the people that were hardcore fans about it, but you may remove the exact element about whatever it was that people liked that brought people to it in the first place. You know? It's like if somebody, there's like a certain magic or a certain charm about certain series and certain books and certain games and songs and everything else, and when you take it and you change it to make it what you think is more marketable, you effectively run the risk of ostracizing both the people who've never seen it, who may not feel that charm from it anymore because it's no longer the same mixture of ingredients, so to speak, and you omit the people who were going to see basically their favorite, you know, video game or book or whatever else in movie form. Really, the only series that has ever managed to pull this off, as far as I know, is pretty much Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider, the movie, is really the only one that ever managed to pull this off. To some degree, Spider-Man did too. Tomb Raider was able to pull it off because there was so little about Lara Croft's backstory that was understood, and so the writers had a very wide free reign to be able to basically make up shit for her and still be able to arguably call it legit, you know? And then as far as Spider-Man, the only real inconsistency there, the big glaring one to me, was that the web shooter shit is fucking something that he shot out of his body synthetically instead of like web shooters that he fucking made in cartridges that he shoots out, which was like the whole thing of the story, that he could like run out of those and then you'd be in danger instead of some fucking cum web coming out of his wrists. Like, I don't really understand that at all. I don't know why they just wouldn't have went with the fucking cartridges. They could have even had that as like a plot device like they did in so many Spider-Man stories, that he runs out of webbing and he has to figure out things on his own. But I guess they just thought that was too complex for people to understand, even though they had stuff like, you know, quantum physics and generating a portable sun and fusion and, yeah. Anyways.